I'm here tonight to share with you a true story. It's my story, and the story starts just over a year ago in April of last year. And at that time, I was not doing well. I was fighting with my ex-wife about the custody of our kids. I was pretty much out of work. I was drinking too much. I was drugging too much. I was thousands of euros in debt to the tax man, to the banker, to the car dealer. It felt like I owed everybody money. I wasn't getting much sleep. I wasn't taking my medication. I was a mess. I had moved into a new house with my girlfriend. She brought her son. I brought my own sons, making us a blended family. And don't get me wrong, we love each other, but it was difficult. We can take care of our kids, but there was still a lot of fighting. There was a lot of frustration, misunderstanding. It was hard. On top of that, I had gained a bunch of weight because I had started drinking again. And when I drink, my friends, I drink a lot, and I drink extra strong Belgian beer, and my new beer belly was a triumph. To put it bluntly, I was a mess. I was severely, clinically depressed, and the light at the end of my tunnel was a train. You know what I mean? So, one day, I'm hanging out in our new house, and I'm doing the laundry because the laundry isn't going to do itself. So I'm upstairs, and I'm hanging up the laundry, right, on the rack. And next to the rack, there's this long wooden railing. And I'm hanging up the clothes, and I'm seeing this railing for the first time, like really seeing it. I'm hanging up the clothes. And then my eyes fall on one of my belts. It's this thick, black leather belt. And I'm like, hello, Mr. Belt. Meet Mr. Railing. I look back at the belt. I look back at the railing, back at the belt, back at the railing. I'm not going to lie to you. I had already Googled the really scary thing. I knew how to do it. I really did. I'm standing there with my belt, and I walk over to the railing, and I'm trying to figure out how can I get the belt around my neck and over the railing in such a way that I can, over the edge, game over. So I'm standing there with the belt, and I'm leaning into the railing, just kind of putting my weight on it, kind of feeling it. You know what I mean? Just like that. It's totally silent in the house. It's almost peaceful. And then it hits me. There is no fucking way that this railing is going to hold my fat ass. It's not going to work. I have gained too much weight. I'm standing there holding that belt, and suddenly my brain is bombarded with thoughts about writing a stand-up comedy bit about an overweight 50-year-old man who tries to kill himself in his new house, goes over the edge, shatters the railing, falls below, and breaks several toes in an epic fail suicide. I'm standing there laughing, and that's when I know I'm going to be okay. I'm feeling it just telling you now. I'm going to be okay. Those evil thoughts, those depressed thoughts, they're being pushed out of my head by comedy thoughts. I am saved by Belgian beer. So will somebody please call those Trappist monks down in Belgium and tell them that they have saved another soul? But it's not the word of the Lord that saved my soul. It's the really, really fattening Belgian beer. Hallelujah. Geez, David, that's kind of an intense story. We thought we were going to come here on a sunny day, hear some inspiring TED Talks, and you're up in here with all the suicide. I get it. I get it. But I need you to trust me and just listen. We'll get to the good stuff later. That day in April of last year, that was my rock bottom. And it was a close call. It really was. A few months after that, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And for those of you who may not know, bipolar is a mood disorder which is characterized by excessive mood swings. So on Monday, I want to die, and on Tuesday, I'm high in the sky. To be honest with you, I've always known my whole adult life, that my depression was more intense than most people. I knew that. My grandmother was bipolar. I have 2 cousins who are bipolar. It runs in the family. As for my family, I grew up in the United States. After university in Colorado, I moved over to the Netherlands, where I've lived in Utrecht, Stadsie for a long time. I love it here, and I am perfectly comfortable on both sides of the Atlantic. A little bit more about my family. I come from a long line of fighters and drinkers, tough guys and tough women. Both of my grandfathers represented the United States of America and fought in World War II. My grandfather was even shot by the Germans and earned a Purple Heart. My own father is a Vietnam veteran. But I'm lucky. In our family, we love each other, despite all the trauma. And believe me, there is plenty of trauma to go around. And with that, mental health injuries, which we, in my tough guy family, did not talk about. It must have felt shameful because nobody did it. We did not talk about it. Now, you guys know a little bit about me. I want to shoot a question out to you. This is a little weird with the online event, but we're going to try this anyway. We're going to make it work. So here's what we're going to do. Can you please put your hand up if you have ever known somebody who has been depressed? Put them up. Nice. Oh, good. Little room lights. Thank you, gentlemen. Excellent. Keep them up. All you at home, please keep your hands up. Next question. Keep them up. Have you ever yourself really felt the blues or been burned out or anything like that? Keep them up. Right. Thank you. Go ahead and put them down. Thanks, guys. Now, we can't see each other, and I'm not a gambling man, but I would bet my grandmother's life savings at almost every hand in this room and at home is up. What does that tell us? Well, it tells me that despite all the successes in our culture, our man on the moon and our 5G and our Teslas, despite all of that, we have created a culture in which depression is everywhere and nobody wants to talk about it. We have created a culture in which it is not okay to not be okay. Now, let me prove it to you. Let's take a quick look at the most commonly asked question in American culture. There she is. Isn't she pretty? How are ya? It's a classic. I don't care where you are in our country. If you're at a hotel or a coffee shop or a restaurant or a shop, you go to somebody's house, this is the question that starts every conversation. And it goes a little something like this. Hi, how are you today? Well, I'm fine. How are you? Well, I'm fine, thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Am I right? You've been there. Now, for you Dutch people in the house tonight and you Dutch people at home, this is the part where your Dutch brain kicks in and goes, oh, no, bald man. We don't do it like that in the Netherlands. That's too American. Oh, really? Want stel, heel eventjes. Je komt je buurman tegen op straat. Wat zeg je dan? Hey, buurman, hoe is het? Ja, goed, buurman, hoe is het met jou? Ja, goed hoor. Ja, goed, oké, buurman. Dag, buurman. Precies hetzelfde. How about down in Italy? Buongiorno, come stai? Buongiorno, sto bene, grazie. E tu? Sto bene, grazie. E tu? Ciao. Lo stesso. Exactly the same. And while we're at it, just because I'm going to have fun doing it, how about Japan? Ohayo gozaimasu. Genki? Ohayo gozaimasu. Genki. How are you? It is the same song and dance, no matter where you go. And when it comes to mental health, when it comes to depressed people, that question sucks. The question is no good. It is ineffective. That question is ineffective because it is too easy for depressed people or anybody else to ignore and deflect. So, I would like to give you guys 4 steps to ask a newer, better question in order to get depressed people talking about how they really feel. Are you ready? Are you ready? You guys are worse than a comedy club. Tough crowd. All right, here we go. Step number 1, stop saying, how are you? Just stop it. It's not hard to take that out of your vocabulary. Remove it from your vocabulary. If you must say something, pick the time of the day and say good morning, good afternoon, buongiorno, whatever. Stop saying, how are you? Step number 2, here we go. How are you feeling? Not doing, not your to-do list, not your activities. Feeling. What are the emotions in your heart? Step number 3, how are you feeling today? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not back when you were a kid, not when you retire. Today. How are you feeling right now in this very moment? All right, one more. Step 4. How are you feeling today, Dominique? Dominique is my girlfriend. She's here tonight. I leave you. Lovely to have you. That's right. That is right. We are going to name names. We are going to name names. There's a reason that salespeople all over America do this, because it is scientifically proven that it is easier to forge human connection when you use the name. So I want you, each and every one of you, if you know the name, use the name. Here's part 2 of your Dutch brain kicking in. Going namen noemen, dat ga ik echt niet doen, David. Dat ga ik gewoon niet doen. Ik ga geen namen noemen, dat is te Amerikaans. Doe normaal, joh. Dat klopt, hoor ik hier. All right, fair enough. I forgive you. That's fine. My message to you now, though, is clear. Get over yourselves. This is not the time to be normal. This is the time to be abnormal. So if you know the name, I want you to use the name. All right, one last thing. This is pretty important. If you ask the question, guys, you must listen to the answer. I repeat, if you ask the question, you must listen to the answer. You can't ask the question and then ask it and be like, oh, I just remembered I have to wash my hair, and then walk away. That's not good enough. If you ask the question, you must listen to the answer. If you don't know the name, don't ask the question. If you don't know the person, don't ask the question. If it's too awkward or weird, don't ask the question. Just pick the time of day and get on with your life. Okay? If you ask the question, you must listen to the answer. Now is the time to be courageous. Because if you can ask this newer, better question to a depressed person and get them to be even a tiny, eeny-weeny little bit honest about how they are really feeling, believe me, you are changing the world. Right then and right there. So, remember the beginning of this talk when I said, just trust me and hang in there and all that? Well, this is the part. Here comes your takeaway. So, pay attention, kids. I'm only going to say this once. All right, when you ask your newer, better question to a depressed person or anybody else, but particularly depressed people, you will become their lifeline. Their lifeline. How do I know? because it happened to me. And I'm lucky enough to have somebody in my life who would ask that question, how I was really feeling, and then have the patience to listen to the answer. And after months of ignoring it and being a typical man and being like, no, I'm not sick, I don't need help, I finally found the courage to say, Leafia, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And that's all it took. That's all it took. I know it sounds simple, but that is all it took. That is where the sob story that this started out as starts to become a happy ending. Because once I say it, we call the doctor. Well, she called the doctor. I have a little trouble with calling doctors. It's a man thing. But it doesn't matter. I went to the doctor. I got to the doctor. He gave me the medicine. I took the medicine. Then we called the therapist. She called the therapist. I went to the therapist. I got into therapy. I quit drinking. I quit taking drugs. I went back to yoga. You know, I stopped fighting and I started talking. Look, man, I'm still in debt. Oh, hell yeah. I'm certainly still bipolar and always will be. I don't see my kids 50% of the time, but it's a start. And sometimes a start is all you really need to get the ball rolling. Since that moment, I've been a man on a mission to start hopeful conversations about mental health, and it's happening now. So here's the really cool part about all this. You guys don't have to do a 10-week course to learn how to ask the newer, better question. Oh, no. You don't have to spend thousands of euros to ask the newer, better question. You don't need a master's degree from Harvard to ask the newer, better question. You can start, and I want you to start tonight. I want you to walk out of this theater, and for those of you at home, walk out of your homes, and when you come across that first person that you care about, I want you to ask that newer, better question. How are you feeling today, Dominique? Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.